Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And this coffee stream episode is a little different. It is a pre-recorded version because StreamYard had a bit of an issue with the servers this morning, and I do not have time for an actual coffee stream. But instead of not doing a show at all, I figured I would just pre-record the articles that I was going to read, and we'd just go through them that way. So, while I pull up the first one, I would just like to reiterate that I really do thank all of you for showing up to last night for the celebration of the 1,000 subscribers. I can't thank you all enough for being there and for getting me to that goal. You guys are amazing. I know I said it a lot last night, but I do appreciate all of you, and I thank you all for being there. So our first article that we're going to read is our only political article of the day. And we are going to read what the Assembly of First Nations chief has to say about Justin Trudeau's vacation to Tofino, BC. Now, I covered his vacation on Friday. The Toronto Sun had an article saying that he left for Tofino on Thursday morning. And Thursday, the 30th of September, was the first National Truth and Reconciliation Day. It was supposed to be a federal holiday for government workers and bank employees, basically all the federal employees. Now, my opinion on that is that that's absolutely ridiculous. If you want people to reflect and observe that holiday and actually be reconciling, then you need to not have the, government only getting the day off and making the plebs do their work still. But that's not what this is about. This is about Trudeau choosing to jet off to Tofino on the very first day, National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And the chief of the Assembly for First Nations says, very hurtful. Chief Archibald, or AFN National Chief Archibald, criticizes Trudeau for Tofino holiday. Now, when I read the Toronto Sun's article on Friday, I did say that I felt that they were spinning it a bit and kind of making it a little more than it should be. However, there are things that come up in this article that kind of make me retract that statement. And we'll quickly go through this. The National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, AFN, has criticized Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's decision to go on a holiday the same day Canada marked its first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation to honor lost children and survivors of residential schools. Trudeau had received at least 2 invitations from the Kamloops to Secaucus. I apologize if I mispronounced that. A British Columbia First Nation that discovered the remains of 215 children at a residential school site in Kamloops earlier this year to spend the day with survivors and their families on September 30th. So yeah, the 215 kids, that was one of the first uncovered sites this year. And so Trudeau was actually, I didn't know that Trudeau was given at least 2 invitations for in-person visits by this tribe or band. What his office did say that he did do on Thursday was phone conversations on the flight. So basically, while he was flying to vacation, he chose to make phone calls or, Zoom appearances or whatever. And then he had the opportunity to go to Kamloops, which, he was flying in a jet. I'm fairly sure he could have had them put in an alteration to the flight plan, saying that he was stopping off at that site to spend some time with the families and the survivors before going to Tofino. That very well could have been arranged, but he chose not to do that, and he chose to go surfing and walking on the beach. And that I find incredibly hypocritical and just proves my point that Trudeau is not interested in actual reconciliation and actual repairing relationships between Indigenous people and the rest of Canada. He's just interested in paying lip service. That's all he's interested in. So this said, so this goes on to say, Instead, he took a trip to Tofino, BC, where Global News filmed the Prime Minister walking on a beach. In an interview with the West Block's Mercedes Stephenson on Sunday, National Chief Roseanne Archibald of the Assembly of First Nations said that the government's words and actions have to be aligned. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. You can't say one thing and do another. And that's exactly what Trudeau is doing right now. He's saying one thing. He's paying lip service, and bad lip service at that, because he shows his true colors often enough when he tries to be glib. But, he can't even pay good lip service, and then his actions are completely the opposite of what he says. So she says, when the Prime Minister talks about reconciliation, please, don't go on a holiday on the very first day for National Truth and Reconciliation. Participate in an event on the day, not the day before. Yes, he took part in a ceremony on Wednesday, but he couldn't be bothered to actually spend time with any of the survivors or their families except via the phone on an airplane. And he couldn't be bothered to take a jaunt to Kamloops on that airplane to spend time with the survivors of one of the first sites that was discovered this year of the mass graves. This continues to say, angry responses to Trudeau's controversial vacation. That was a video. Archibald, who is the first woman to serve as AFN's national chief, said the Prime Minister's decision to not attend a ceremony hosted by Kamloops to Secwepemc was, quote, very hurtful for survivors and intergenerational trauma survivors. Even though Trudeau participated in a ceremony on Parliament Hill in Ottawa the night before, the first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, many Indigenous leaders have sharply criticized him for not attending events honoring survivors on the actual day. And they should. They should. If he wants to create this day, he needs to actually take part in it. He can't just pay lip service and shun the actual day. On Saturday, Trudeau telephoned Kamloops Nation Roseanne Kelsener and offered her an apology. Oh, wow. In a statement to Global News Sunday, the Prime Minister's office said he also discussed the path forward and told the chief that he hopes to visit her community soon. Dude, you were in a jet 2 days before. You could have very easily, during the flight, or, even before the flight, had your flight plan altered to have a stop put in for the Kamloops Nation. Or, you could have not gone at all until Friday. I'm just saying. Like, this is... Wow. That's just insane. I can't... My brain hurts. The way that he just continues to make bad decisions and then just, oh, sorry. He needs that, someone needs to make a meme of the South Park episode, the British Petroleum, the guy, we're sorry. Sorry. But instead of him, just put Trudeau. That's all you need to do. 'Cause that's all he's doing. We're sorry. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't believe that people couldn't see through this and felt that it was a good idea to reelect him. I'm flabbergasted by that still. Moving on. Our next story is about a rental scam. Now this is a very interesting story. I pre-read this morning. This took place in Ottawa, and this is a very bold scam here. So let's get into this. Rental scam cheats would-be tenants out of $4,300 and leaves homeowners with shocking surprise. So this is posted by the CBC. A scammer appears to have created fake Kijiji listing that appears to have duplicated real online listing. So this was posted October 4th, so today. David Polk says that he lost $4,300 after he thought his family rented a home over Kijiji. The listing was fake, and that's the caption of the photo. An Ottawa couple recently listed their brand new rental property, but before they could rent it out, they found a family living there as a result of a bold and complex scam. The con, based on a fake listing on Kijiji, but with a puzzling twist, not only duped the family out of thousands of dollars in rent, but left the homeowners feeling stunned and violated. The ordeal began in August after Anu and Saloni Mittal purchased a 2-story townhouse on Pastel Way in Ottawa's Barrhaven neighborhood and listed it for rent. Oh, Barrhaven, that's a nice area. It's a really nice area. A few weeks later, on September 13th, the couple's MLS agent, Dinesh Sharma, not Shawarma, oops, called them early in the morning with some shocking news. He said a man claiming to be living in the couple's townhouse was complaining that his landlord was trying to change the terms of the lease and asking for more rent. Your client is acting up, Sharma recalled the man telling him. Wow. But the Mittals hadn't even signed a tenant at that point. As far as they knew, no one had ever lived in the house, in the newly constructed building. That's just crazy. In fact, the quote "for rent" sign was still standing on the grass outside their rental property, which is how the man found the Sharma's name and number. The Mittals and their agent quickly drove to Pastel Way to investigate. This is, I don't know what the hell I would do. Like, if I bought a home and intended to rent it out, and then, I hadn't even signed a lease with anyone yet, and my agent calls me and is like, yeah, there's people in the house, and apparently they're saying that someone wants more rent out of them. Like, I'd be angry and panicked, and like I'd be like, is my agent scamming me? Like, what's, like, I would be so freaked out. There they met David Polk, still settling into the townhouse that he and his family had moved into just 2 days earlier. Polk explained he had spotted the rental listing on Kijiji and had agreed to inspect the property, sign the lease, and pay the first and last month's rent over a series of text messages with the supposed landlord, all without an in-person meeting. Weird. That would make me very suspicious. But neither the Mitals nor their MLS agent had ever created a Kijiji ad for the unit. Real estate agent Dinesh Sharma listed the Mitals property after construction was complete, but someone moved in before he could rent it out himself. So this is I guess the picture of the house. Polk, who hadn't been in the rental market for many years, said he thought closing the deal without a face-to-face meeting was in line with how many businesses were operating during the pandemic. Yeah, dude, even during the pandemic, if somebody wants to do this all over text message, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna move on. Like, pandemic or not, just wear a mask and socially distance if you're inspecting the unit. Like, this is a ginormous red flag to me. I don't know. Quote, under normal circumstances, yes, this would have raised some red flags, said the 36-year-old construction worker and father. No, even now, that raises red flags. Especially now that everything is starting to get back to normal. Like, sorry, dude, and not being in the rental market is no excuse. That was dumb. Polk said he email transferred $4,300 in rent to a man who called himself Mikhail Gland, who provided the combination for the lockbox to give Polk access to the keys. Now that's interesting. So this next heading says, disagreement over how perpetrator obtained information. But how did the scammer obtain or know the combination? That's a very good question. After sharing information, the homeowner's listing agent and Polk zeroed in on a theory that the scam may have hinged on an online tool called Showing Time. I've never heard of this. I guess it's a new thing. It's a Chicago-based site that allows agents to schedule and book home showings. Okay. The service promotes itself as a one-stop shop for accredited service or accredited MLS agents. With just a few clicks, an account holder can find detailed information about a listed property, its outstanding offers, showing schedule, as well as the combination to the door's lockbox. Why in the fuck would you add that information? That's just dumb. That's just dumb. You should, if the only people who should have the combination are the MLS agent and the owner of the house, and then the tenant. And that should only be passed through private communications. If you are booking a showing, then You shouldn't be having access to the keys. There should be somebody there to facilitate the showing, even during COVID. It's called wear a fucking mask, people. Seriously. This is dumb. Why would you have the combination? Like, I could understand the other stuff, like how many offers there are on a property, the showing schedule, being able to book a showing. But the combination for the lockbox to the key, for the keys to the door, no, that's just stupid. Sharma's real estate brokerage has a contract with Showing Time, meaning all its properties, including the Barhaven townhouse, are listed on the platform. You might want to rethink that, Mr. Sharma. Polk, the Mittals, and Sharma suspect the perpetrator accessed the lockbox combination through a booking on the Showing Time by posing as a real estate agent. Yeah, this is why you shouldn't have the lockbox combination available on the listing thing. That should be a private communication only between the actual real estate agent that the homeowners have a contract with and the actual tenant that the homeowners and real estate agent have a lease with. Those are the only people who should have access to that information. An RBC this is an article. But yeah, that's the con. That's the scam. And the tenant, the owners of the house are giving the family only a week to relocate. So, I mean, it's not their responsibility to provide them a shelter because, you know, they weren't involved in this. But, I mean, a week? Like, come on, guys. At least give them the month. That's how the hell are you supposed to find... First of all, rent is insane, especially in Ottawa, but how are you supposed to find a house for your entire family in a week and then come up with the money when you've already paid $4,000 to live where you're living? That, you know, that's not very gracious of the homeowners, I think. I understand that would mean I'd be out money for the month, but, you know, just out of good grace and humanity, I would offer them a month to, you know, find a place and get out and get settled. A week is not enough time. Not even for a single person, but for a family, that's no. So this article is from blog.to. And this is about a lady who apparently was refused treatment because she was not vaccinated. Now, under the rules of the vaccine passport that was just released, medical care is one of the things that is not supposed to be denied. This is supposed to be groceries, medical care, pharmacy costs, or pharmacy care, banking, stuff like that is all not supposed to be denied if you are not vaccinated or do not have proof. So this is not good. Toronto woman says she was refused medical treatment because she is unvaccinated. No, go away. Why are you showing people my fucking email? Thank you. The woman, who wishes to remain anonymous, says she is chronically ill with a genetic syndrome and has declined to get vaccinated over concerns over her health. Legit or legitimate. All my life, or quote, all my life I've caught everything. I react to everything, she tells blog.to. My body, quote, my body is hypersensitive to life. Although doctors have advised her to get the vaccine, she says issues with her heart and blood pressure make it too much of a risk. You know, with all this, the effects of everything, I don't blame her. I've come down with a bunch of chronic illnesses, all of which most of the time I have to spell for doctors. They are so rare and explain what they and I have to explain what they are. So when she filled out a form in preparation for a health treatment on September 30th at Women's College Hospital, she stated that she wasn't vaccinated. She got a message to confirm, and when she did, she got a message stating that she would have to cancel. Oh, wow. Her appointment was canceled on September 27th, and a staff member said the practitioner was not comfortable treating her unvaccinated. Why? If the doctor is vaccinated, why does it matter? The woman sent blog.to part of the conversation she had online with the staff. Names and treatment information have been removed. Women's College Hospital did not immediately get back to blog.to for their COVID-19 policies. But this situation has come up in other places. In BC, a teen with a sore wrist was turned away from a walk-in clinic because he wasn't vaccinated and told to seek care at the emergency room instead. Medical professionals are balancing the right to health care and other patients and healthcare workers' rights to be protected from an unvaccinated person. University of BC professor Dr. Michael Curry told the Vancouver Sun. No, I'm sorry. If you're vaccinated and you're wearing a mask, it shouldn't matter if the other person is vaccinated. This is the first time, like I said the other day, and I keep saying, I have never heard of a doctor telling somebody, oh, you're not vaccinated against the flu, I don't feel comfortable treating you. I've never heard of a doctor telling a parent, oh, your child is unvaccinated against the measles. Oh, don't bring him to see me because I don't feel comfortable treating him. That's... What the hell is going on here? Why is this a thing? But Dr. Stephen Hopson, Hopson Cam, a professor at UBC School of Population and Public Health, says, in the case of the walk-in clinic, the physician should have provided care if the physician and his staff were fully vaccinated. Yes. The woman in this Toronto case said she has no plans to get vaccinated, but she doesn't align herself with people who are protesting lockdowns or who are protesting vaccine mandates, lockdowns, or wearing masks. I wear a mask everywhere I go, she says. She generally stays at home, so has no problem with lockdowns either. I have a compromised immune system, so I don't want to be out in publicly crowded places to begin with. As for next steps, she has made a complaint to the College of Nurses of Ontario, about the incident, and says she won't be returning to this practitioner for treatment, nor should you. At all. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason for this to be happening. I keep saying, this is absolutely not okay. Okay, let's get to the last story as quickly as we can. This is our last story. And it's about, this is our disability story for the day. It's also a Canadian story, so we're covering all of the bases here. Okay. We'll get this shared. Nice and fast. Okay. Sorry for the dead air, guys. Just trying to get this as quickly as possible shared. Okay, here we are. All right, this is also from the CBC. Here we go. After 18 trying months, blind Nova Scotians say their pandemic needs haven't been met. Yeah, I feel you on that one, blind Nova Scotians. I truly, truly do. So this is also posted. Oh, this is posted October 3rd. So constantly changing pandemic restrictions and requirements have proven to be an increasing source of frustration for people who are blind or visually impaired. Yes, they have. Physical distancing instructions and directional signs are of little use to people who can't see them, and calls for clearer online guidance from individual businesses don't always get a response. Very true. It is very difficult to tell if you're socially distanced properly, especially if everyone's wearing a mask. It's hard to tell. Their voices are muffled. It's obviously the arrows pointing you in the right direction obviously aren't going to do any good for someone who can't see them. Louise Gillis, president of the Canadian Council of the Blind, said that people who are blind often have to give up their independence to arrange for COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. Yes, even when I got vaccinated, Pincolo had to get the security guard to walk me into the vaccine clinic because he had the boys. So it wouldn't have been possible for him to guide me around and wrangle the kids. So the security guard had to get me into the clinic and then find a volunteer, and then the volunteer had to guide me through the whole building to the vaccine area and back out again and all that. Like I had great service, but it definitely was a headache. Quote, quite often somebody else has to assist with making the appointment for the person because all the websites and those types of things are not necessarily accessible for somebody with screen readers or need extra assistance in some way of navigating it, Gillis said. That's true too. I had to call to make my vaccine appointment because the website just kept refreshing itself. I couldn't use it with a screen reader at all. The situation is made worse, she said, by uncertainty about how to get to a screening or a vaccination site, knowing if it is accessible, and how to navigate the space once there. Yes, absolutely, as I just told in my story about my vaccine. Louise Gillis is national president of Canadian Council for the Blind. Oh, sorry, that's a photo caption. She said some communities have worked to provide better accommodations for their blind or low vision residents, but that isn't always the case. Some are left behind. Yes, that is absolutely true, and I am very lucky that I am a blind person who happens to be in a relationship with a sighted person, because I do have that extra, I can get a drive. I don't have to take public transport. I don't have to spend money on Uber. I do consider myself very lucky. Public transport has also become more of an obstacle, as buses no longer have restricted capacity. It is impossible to know if there is a seat available or if that seat is in a safe location. Okay, that's bullshit. Just wear a mask. Just shut up and wear a mask and get on the bus. As a consequence, Gillis said a lot of people are choosing to stay in their homes because it is too dangerous to go out, not knowing if others are distanced or wearing a mask. Then you wear a mask. Then you try to distance. Use your ears. Like, you don't, like, come on. Just, no. Like, yes, there are accessibility concerns with COVID. Yes, there are actual things to bring up, but Jesus Christ, come on. Have some agency. According to Gillis, sighted people also need to provide more helpful descriptions when trying to guide people with blindness or low vision. Constantly changing pandemic restrictions and constantly changing restrictions and requirements have proven to be an increasing. Oh, sorry, it went to the top. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be nice if sighted people were more descriptive, but you can't get angry at a sighted person for not knowing how to describe things to blind people if they've never been around a blind person. They're just trying to do their best. And like I said it to the other points that, it's hard to use, it's dangerous to use public transport because, we don't know if the seat is in a safe location. Just put your mask on and, listen for what's around you and choose a seat accordingly. Like, you can't live in fear. I mean, like, come on. Just that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. You had me with all the other accessibility concerns and then you went there and I just no. Well, my friends, I do thank you for stopping by and checking out this pre-recorded version of the coffee stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Please stop by tonight to Twitch for Beat the Blind Girl. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a fun time. Also, please consider checking out teespring.com/myeyes and purchasing yourself a My Eyes mug. I would like to thank you all for watching, and I will be back here on Wednesday with Functional for Canadian Wednesdays. And also, do not miss me tomorrow night on the Minions of the Zoo. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, guys.